In 1988, a California couple sued social services for tricking them into adopting a violent child. He had been rehomed dozens of times, made death threats, and forced the couple to flee their home and go into hiding. Universal Pictures saw this story and said, "Yeah, that's a family comedy." The adoption was severed in 1985 in Superior Court, and the lawsuit was settled out of court with social services who didn't admit blame, but admitted they didn't know the extent of the child's problems prior to the adoption. Screenwriters Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski turned it into a screenplay, a comedy. In their defense, they intended the movie to be a dark comedy or satire of the mid-'80s trend of precocious kids teaching dumb adults a thing or two, but the studio had other plans and turned the movie into a family-friendly film that became Universal's most profitable film of 1990, grossing $53 million domestically and $72 million worldwide. And the critics hated it. With a rare Rotten Tomatoes score of 0%, I'm the media darling, and this is Problem Child. Let me make a compliment sandwich. John Ritter is a fine actor. Amy Yasbeth is absolutely beautiful as Flo Healy. There are several cats. Some people might think Michael Oliver is a cute kid. I'm sure I watched Problem Child in the 90s when it was relatively new, but I didn't really have any memory of it, and I was interested in figuring out why critics hated it so much. I figured it wasn't a good movie, but how awful could it really be? What do critics know anyways? They know some things. The movie opens with a montage of Junior being dropped off on doorsteps. His mother selects a mansion for him, but when the lady of the house lifts Junior up out of his basket, he promptly whizzes in her face. We watch Junior being rehomed multiple times, getting shoved back into his too small basket and dropped off at progressively less affluent homes until he finally ends up at a Catholic orphanage. It's understandable that Junior is unhappy. He's only 7, and to our knowledge, he's been shuffled through 6 different homes. But Junior doesn't cut a very sympathetic character because he gets into a lot of dumb trouble. Dumb trouble can be funny, but Junior's shenanigans just fall flat. Of course, we're supposed to think it's funny that he's managed to string up a nun, catch the priest on the toilet, surprise the nuns in the shower with a camera, and trip the Mother Superior, causing her to fall through an open window and break her arm. Junior! But Junior isn't funny. He's usually just mean. Junior wants out of the orphanage, and who can blame him? While it's obvious that the filmmakers were trying not to go full gulag, it's still an orphanage where the children are routinely fed slop. Not only does Junior want out of the orphanage, the nuns want Junior gone. And they're threatening to close shop if social services doesn't get Junior a different placement.
That's cut the crap, Mr. Peabody! Either Junior goes or you find yourself some new nuns. No.
Gilbert Godfrey plays Mr. Peabody, the social services representative. And I forgot to mention, Junior has become the prison pen pal of a serial killer called the Bow Tie Killer. Junior's trademark bow tie is an homage to his incarcerated idol. This is important, and we'll get back to it later. But now, enter the Healys. I'm pretty sure Ben and Flo drive a Yugo. They have cats, and Ben works for his father, Big Ben, who mistreats Ben as much as his wife does, and his adoptive son, Will. Ben hopes to inherit the family sporting goods superstore, but Big Ben intends to sell it to the Japs for top dollar, leaving Ben without a job. In addition, Ben and Flo are suffering from infertility, and they're told that there is no chance to have a baby with any of the assistive technologies offered by their gynecologist. Ben and Flo are despondent. They live in a very child-centric neighborhood, and every weekend there's some sort of social event that revolves around children, but Ben and Flo don't get any invitations because they don't have children. Ben wants to adopt, but Flo doesn't want to shop secondhand. Listen, not to be a stick in the mud, but the way adoption is handled in this movie is pretty offensive. Yes, it's supposed to be funny, satirical even, but it's not dark enough to feel like a satirical dark comedy. It wants to be edgy, but it ends up poking fun at systems that fail vulnerable kids. Eventually, Ben persuades Flo that adoption is for them, and they show up to social services where they're told by Mr. Peabody that while adopting a baby will take them many years, there just so happens to be a perfect little boy that just came up for adoption. Would the Healy's be interested? Flo isn't interested. This movie is full of people who are unfit to be parents. Flo doesn't want to be a mother, but she's trapped into the process by the fact that she's become a social pariah just because she doesn't or cannot have children. And Ben's dad, Big Ben, clearly isn't interested in being a nurturing father either. Ben manipulates Flo into adoption and then into adopting Junior. And while the movie is clearly telling us Junior is the problem, and he is a problem, we need to talk about the fact that no one who is put in a position to parent Junior actually chooses to parent him, except for Ben. We never learn why Junior's birth mother gave him up. You could conclude that he was a bad seed and she just wanted rid of him, or maybe she thought she was giving him a better life. Either way, each parent just passes him along without getting consent or the next parent being able to make a genuine choice as to whether or not they want to be a parent. Is Problem Child a secret pro-choice manifesto on how parenthood is pushed upon people by our society and how that negatively affects the children who aren't actually wanted? It's not, but it could be.
What's so funny?
You are, you stupid dick!
Flo and Ben bring Junior home, and Junior can't help himself. He tortures the cat, sets his room on fire, and sends Big Ben to the hospital within the first 24 hours. When the Healys finally get invited to a neighborhood party for a little girl's birthday, Junior is bullied by the birthday girl, and then he ruins her life. He puts firecrackers in the cake, pickles in the piñata, and throws all of her gifts into the pool. He completely wrecks the party while the birthday girl melts down to a montage set to It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want To by Leslie Gore. Listen, that kid deserved it. She deserved consequences. But Junior doesn't stop at petty revenge. He goes full scorched earth. While at the party, Ben realizes that Junior is being left out, and he feels sympathy for him. Ben has an heirloom prune that was given to him by his grandfather with dementia, and he gives it to Junior for safekeeping as a symbol of trust. Ben Healy, perpetual victim, is really trying to be a good father to Junior. He wants to change this kid's life and be the dad he clearly never had. Ben is bullied by everyone, his wife, his father, his son, his friend Roy, who is living some weird trad wife life with his perpetually pregnant wife and 5 million kids. And even though kids on Roy's T-ball team bully Ben. Junior may not have had sympathy for Ben, but he definitely doesn't like Roy. He unleashes a bear on their camping trip and wrecks Roy's T-ball team. Roy sucks, but as usual, Junior takes it too far.
we've adopted Satan.
Ben and Flo take Junior to church, believing he's possessed. Junior decides to hide in the confessional, and when Ben goes in to make confession about his failure as a father, he says that everyone hates Junior but him. Ben confesses that he is failing Junior and that he thinks he and Flo should return him.
Mama, you don't want to do that. That's the worst thing you could do.
Junior shows emotion at this and cries. Ben and Flo show up at social services, and similar to the real-life story that inspired this movie, they blame Mr. Peabody from hiding Junior's issues from them to manipulate them into adopting Junior. Mr. Peabody tells them that he was out of options and Junior has been rehomed 30 times. And one of the only genuine emotional beats in the movie, Ben realizes Junior is just a deeply hurt little boy. He refuses to abandon him like everyone else. Flo's done. But let's be honest, she never really signed up for this in the first place. Junior is furious that they were trying to return him. He steals Ben's Yugo, and while Ben is trying to gentle parent Junior out of the car, Junior drives off into traffic. Junior can't see over the steering wheel, and Ben is stuck onto the hood like a leech when Junior hits the hood release. Junior does an impressive job of driving the car, considering he can't see anything, and he manages to drive right through Big Ben's superstore, totally wrecking the place. Big Ben, in a move that should be criminal, drains Ben and Flo's savings account to pay for the damages Junior caused to the store. Does no one have insurance? In the meantime, the bow tie killer has busted out of jail and is making his way toward Junior with plans of them committing crimes together. Throughout the movie, Ben has been reading parenting books, but upon deciding not to return Junior to social services, Ben's begun to read The Exorcist. We see Ben creeping upstairs with a pillow, implying he intends to smother Junior when the doorbell rings, and it's Junior's savior, the bow tie killer. Junior introduces the bow tie killer as his uncle, and the bow tie killer is pretty pissed that this mean as a rattlesnake ex-con is just a kid. Ben and Flo see an out with Junior having a relative who could take custody of him. Because why stop this crazy train now? Why not hand over this traumatized child to a stranger you've never heard of? The bow tie killer is not impressed that Junior is a kid, but he is impressed by Flo. As he should be, Flo is a damn fox. He thinks she's flirting with him while she's trying to convince him to take custody of Junior, and then he follows her into the kitchen where he basically sexually assaults her. And she's into it, which according to the 90s makes it fine. Ben wakes up to a ransom note from the bow tie killer stating that if he wants to see Flo and Junior again, he needs to pay a $100,000 ransom. At first, Ben thinks his problems are over, even after realizing via the morning paper that his family was taken by a serial killer. Junior is stoked to be with the bow tie killer. He's brought toy weapons with him so he can help, and he believes that he and the bow tie killer will be partners. But the bow tie killer is pissed off that he's dealing with a kid and tells Junior he doesn't like anyone. In the car, Flo comes to, and she's incensed because she thought she and the bow tie killer were in love. She doesn't quit yapping, so the bow tie killer shoves Flo in a suitcase and locks her in the trunk. Back at the Healy house, Ben has a classic meltdown. He starts tearing apart Junior's room and finds the drawings Junior made of their family. He also finds an heirloom prune. And because it's a 90s family movie, Ben has a change of heart. He rushes to Big Ben's store to ask for help, and Big Ben refuses unless he gets something out of it, which honestly tracks. Ben goes home empty-handed and gets a call from the bow tie killer. They agree to meet at the circus for a ransom exchange. Ben hands over a duffel bag, but the bow tie killer doesn't hand over Junior. He tries to convince Junior to leave with him, but Junior finally realizes that Ben is the only person who's ever really cared about him. Junior kicks the bow tie killer in the nuts, runs off, dumps him in the lion taming ring, and zip lines across the circus to Ben, calling him Dad for the first time.
Junior, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Dad.
You called me Dad.
Yeah, I guess I did.
The bow tie killer bolts. Ben and Junior give chase. Junior grabs Roy's hunting rifle. Oh, yeah. Ben stole Roy's tradwife mobile earlier. Junior drives while Ben hangs out the sunroof, firing at the bow tie killer's tires. We have a Dukes of Hazzard moment.
Yee-haw!
Flo gets flung out of the trunk and lands in the car with Ben and Junior. She immediately asks for a divorce. Fair. Ben shoots out one of the bow tie killer's tires, the car flips, and Junior slams on the brakes, launching Flo into a truck full of pigs. Because of course. The cops arrive. The bow tie killer steals a gun and shoots Ben. Junior is devastated, thinking Ben is dead. He tells Ben he loves him. Ben tells Junior he loves him too. But Ben survives the gunshot due to some campaign swag from Big Ben and the heirloom prune. Family comes through in the end. Ben tells Junior he wants him to just be himself. Junior says,
Some people never learn.
Come on, son.
Then they limp into the sunset together, but not before Junior throws away the bow tie. We close with Flo, covered in mud and misery, getting slammed in the face with an enormous set of pig balls. What's the compliment with which to end this compliment sandwich? It's only an hour and 21 minutes long. But if it was so bad, how did it gross so much? I have some theories on that. First, Problem Child was released mid-summer 1990 when mixed audience movie options were pretty slim. Disney would re-release Jungle Book that summer, as well as a theatrical release of DuckTales the movie, but as for family movies, pickings were slim. Prior to the release of Problem Child, moviegoers looking for a family experience had Ghost Dad, another critical disaster, with only $20.9 million domestic box office gross. If you wanted to see a mixed appeal movie in the summer of 1990, it was going to be Problem Child. But scarcity wasn't the only explanation for its success. Once Problem Child hit the rental market, it still enjoyed a good amount of success despite a highly competitive release market. Problem Child was released on VHS on January 31st, 1991, and by February 21st, it had cracked the top 5 of the video rental chart. So it wasn't just limited options that explained its popularity. Word of mouth goes a long way, but Problem Child also enjoyed a well-cut trailer that played up Junior's gags and left out some of the issues voiced by critics. While the full-length trailer does show some of Junior's more unkind pranks, they're all offered without context, so the casual viewer wouldn't necessarily grasp Junior had been starting food fights, writing pen pal letters to serial killers, and stealing cameras to take pictures of nuns in the shower.
He's mad. He's bad. He's 7.
I'm gonna be 8 in 2 weeks.
Don't count on it.
Without context, the movie doesn't seem that bad.
Problem Child.
Oh, me?
Lastly, audiences in the mid-80s through the 90s loved a precocious, smartass kid. Family-centered mixed audience movies usually had at least one kid that was giving someone older than them the business. From Mouth in 1985's The Goonies to Macaulay Culkin's Kevin McAllister and the Home Alone duology, we only acknowledge 2 Home Alone movies. Quick-thinking kids with a moderate to severe disrespect for authority were popular comic addition to movies.
I'm an only child.
Where do you live?
Can't tell you that,
Why not?
because you're a stranger.
TVTropes.com defines 2 related tropes along these lines: the mouthy kid who steps up to try and right injustices, and the bratty half-pint, who they define as being shamelessly antagonistic and often needs to be rescued. The mouthy kid was seen as countercultural to the naive, do-gooder child characters of the 50s and 60s. But the bratty half-pint has few redeeming qualities. In Problem Child, our hero Ben Healy has to rescue the antagonistic Junior, who through his own foolishness is kidnapped by a serial killer. And while Junior is slightly redeemed at the end and realizes he's loved by Ben and that he loves him back, we can only imagine the amount of therapy, consistency, and positive reinforcement Junior is going to need to undo 30 rehomings and an ingrained need to be an agent of chaos. The weirdest thing about Problem Child isn't the plot, or even the fact that it's loosely based on a real-life adoption horror story. The real mindbender is that this thing became a franchise. Problem Child 2 would only gross $25 million domestically and $32 million worldwide. Problem Child 3, Junior in Love, was a made-for-TV movie, and the animated series got 2 seasons and 26 episodes. Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski would produce or write every entry in the series, despite later implying their careers suffered after the disastrous reception of the 1990 original. I remember thinking Problem Child was pretty bad as a teen, and I have no memory of either Problem Child 3 nor the animated series. The movie just never entered into rotation at my house growing up, and without those associated memories of the movie, which would have turned it into a comfort film, I didn't share it with my kids either. We all understand that movies that are nearly 40 years old are going to have some less evolved moments. I have affectionately dubbed these moments that feel awkward or uncomfortable oof moments, and I hereby give you the oof count.
I tried to like it at the orphanage, but then I became interested in photography.
Look, why don't you just take a look at this adoption literature and we can talk about it tonight?
Why don't you look at it yourself? I don't wear secondhand clothes, and I won't have a secondhand kid. Adoption is out!
That's right. Big Bands is 100% American.
I'm selling the store to the Japs.
I hope you like clowns.
Oh my god, they're retarded. He's so big. Yesterday they didn't even have a kid, and now they have a 7-year-old. That's gross. I don't want him at my party.
Lucy?
But Mother, he dresses like the man the cremated Uncle Leo.
Lucy's turning.
So, how does it feel? Your first night camping with your son?
Oh, Roy, it's great. It's a dream. It's a dream
Sure,
come
forget
true.
the fact that you had to go to the Kid Emporium and buy one. Big deal. I mean, we can't all produce 6.
Uh-oh, he's lost it now.
Junior, the women would be flocking over you.
Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did you watch Problem Child? Did you like it? Should I watch the other 2 movies in the series and report back? Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll see you next time.